The moment he walked into the courtroom, everything changed. The room was silent, heavy with tension. Reporters leaned
I think that I was like, damn, it's 6 out there, you know? Hey, it's crazy, bro.
forward. Cameras clicked. And then he said it. I killed Lil Jeff. Just like that 5 words that froze the entire courtroom. 5 words that would finally rip the lid off a mystery that had haunted the streets, the blogs, and the fans for years. For so long, people had speculated. Some blamed rivals. Others thought it was an inside job. But no one, not even Lil Jeff's own people, expected the real killer to come forward and confess everything. The man behind the mic, a former affiliate, someone who had once rolled with the same crew, someone who had smiled in pictures with Jeff, a face that had blended into the background of dozens of rap videos, quiet, unnoticed. Until now, and when he spoke, it wasn't just a confession, it was a complete unraveling. He started from the beginning. The tension that had been building for months, backdoor deals, disrespect that had gone too far. Late-night arguments that no one knew about. According to him, things got personal, real personal. And that's when everything spiraled. He told me I wasn't real, the man said, voice shaking. He told me I was dead weight, that I'd never be anything without him. I don't know why, but that night, I snapped. You could hear the gasps in the courtroom. Even Lil Jeff's family, who had waited years for answers, looked stunned. This wasn't some stranger. This wasn't a gang rival from out of town. This was someone who had once been part of the inner circle, and then he described the night. It happened. He said it was supposed to just be a conversation. We were both high. I brought the gun just in case. Not to use it, just to show him I wasn't playing anymore. But things escalated. Voices were raised, threats were exchanged, and before he could stop himself, he pulled the trigger. He looked at me, he whispered, and said, "You really did it." Then he fell. The room went cold. Every single person there felt the weight of that moment, the betrayal, the pain, the coldness of it all. But what hit hardest was what came next. He didn't run, he didn't dump the weapon. Instead, he sat there next to Jeff's body for hours. I thought about turning myself in that night, he said, but I was scared. I knew the streets wouldn't forgive me, and I knew the feds were watching everything. So he vanished, went ghost, moved states, changed his name. And for years he lived in silence, hiding from the law, the streets, and his own conscience. But something changed recently. According to his lawyer, he started having breakdowns, nightmares, guilt that wouldn't let him breathe, until finally he cracked. He couldn't take it anymore, his lawyer told the press. He said he was ready to face whatever was coming. And now, here he was, in court, reliving the murder of a man who once called him brother. Confession hit the internet like a bomb. Fans flooded social media, stunned. Some cried, others raged. Old videos of Jeff and the killer surfaced. People couldn't believe they missed the signs. The fake smiles, the quiet tension, it was all there. We just didn't see it. Meanwhile, in the courtroom, Jeff's mother broke down. She clutched a picture of her son and whispered, "I knew it wasn't random. I just didn't know it was him." Now prosecutors are pushing for the maximum sentence, but the streets have already made their judgment. Some say he's brave for coming clean. Others say it's too little, too late. Either way, one thing is clear. The truth is finally out, and the man who killed Lil Jeff will never be forgotten. Not for what he did, but for how long he stayed silent.
Damn. Okay, so is there anything about that case you want to clear up and just touch about, bro? Because I see you got a whole different perspective.
No bullshit. Okay. I see the videos. I see that shit. I was like, damn, it's 6 out there, you know? Hey, it's crazy, bro.
But even after the courtroom emptied out, the questions didn't stop. Why now? Why speak after all these years? Was it really guilt? Or something darker? Online theories exploded overnight. Some claimed he struck a deal, that the confession was timed to save himself from something worse. Maybe another case was closing in. Maybe someone else had threatened to out him. Others believed he was haunted, literally, by Lil Jeff's memory, dreams, visions, the kind of guilt that eats at you from the inside out. But no matter the reason, the timing was chilling. Just days before his confession, a former crew member posted a cryptic message. "Truth, coming soon. Keep your eyes open. All snakes get skinned eventually." Was that aimed at him? Did he confess because the streets were about to speak for him? The vibe in the city changed. Lil Jeff murals, which had faded over time, were now covered in fresh candles and tags. Long Live Jeff was trending again. Old interviews resurfaced, ones where Jeff hinted at betrayal but never said names. One clip in particular hit hard. "You gotta watch the ones closest to you," It ain't the ops you need to worry about. It's the ones who dap you up every day. Fans connected the dots. The heartbreak was real.
Black man is very underdeveloped and undereducated in America, bro.
Ooh, not me?
No, listen, bro. When it comes to emotional intelligence, reasoning, and people getting shot over shoes and that's not being emotionally intelligent.
Remembered seeing the killer at Jeff's memorial, hugging his mother, pretending to mourn. That image alone of a killer crying fake tears made blood boil. He helped carry Jeff's casket. One person tweeted, "Whole time, he knew." Meanwhile, in court, the legal battle began. Prosecutors weren't playing games. They brought in every detail, phone records, texts, surveillance, but it was his own words, the raw confession, that did most of the damage. Even the judge looked shaken. "You didn't just kill a man," he said during the pre-sentencing hearing. "You betrayed trust. You destroyed a family. And you wore a mask of loyalty while hiding the truth."
I don't even like it, so I don't even know. Internet crazy, so.
Forward, cameras clicked, and then he said it. "I killed Lil Jeff." Just like that 5 words that froze the entire courtroom. 5 words that would finally rip the lid off a mystery that had haunted the streets, the blogs, and the fans for years. For so long, people had speculated. Some blamed rivals. Others thought it was an inside job. But no one, not even Lil, makes this especially cruel. The defense tried to argue mental trauma. That he had been manipulated, cornered by fear, desperate to prove himself in a world where weakness gets you killed. But the jury didn't buy it. They saw a man who made a choice. And then lived free for years while others grieved in the dark. Sentencing is scheduled for next week. Life without parole is on the table. But for Lil Jeff's mother, no sentence will bring her son back. "I forgave him in my heart," she said quietly. "Not for him, for me. But I'll never forget what he took from us." The story has sparked a bigger conversation in the industry about loyalty, fake love, and how fame can blur the line between family and enemy. Rappers, influencers, even athletes have posted tributes to Jeff, reminding people to cherish real ones and cut off snakes early. One message stood out. It came from another fallen rapper's brother. "Y'all keep thinking these stories are rare. They're not. This happens more than you think. We just don't always get the confession." And that's the haunting part, because for every Lil Jeff, there's another artist, another friend, another life taken by someone they trusted. And not every killer breaks down and confesses. Most keep living like nothing happened. Like, they didn't just shatter lives and walk away. So when this killer finally spoke up, it wasn't just about Jeff. It was about everybody who's been betrayed in silence. But the streets never forget. And while the confession might close, the legal case, it doesn't bring peace. Not for Jeff's fans. Not for his family. Not for the culture that lost another young king to envy and ego. His name still rings out. His music still plays. But now, every beat hits differently because we know the truth. We know how it ended, and we know who did it.